Hello, my amazing YouTube family and anyone else that ended up here. Today's video is one I've been wanting to make my whole entire life, and that is because of this thing right here, an X Games gold medal. I managed to win this thing about 2 days ago at X Games in Sydney, and it's been a lifelong dream my whole life. So I thought today I would make a little video about my journey towards getting this medal and what I went through and where my dream began and where I accomplished it. So I'm gonna make a new BMX bike and a new scooter right now, and while I do that, I'm just gonna go through the process and my journey to getting an X Games gold medal. So thanks for joining me. Let's get straight into it. I'm gonna get my car uncovered because my mum cleaned it. Cheers, mum. And I gotta go get some tubes first because I don't have tubes for my new bike. Alright, even though I'd love to wear this thing the whole video because I'm in love with it, I'm not going to because it would get in the way and you probably get a little bit annoyed at me. So I'm going to get this thing off, I'm going to get the cover off my car, and then, oh, Alex is here. And then I'm going to go get some tubes. And then we're going to start building my bike and we're going to start going through my little journey to get the X Games gold. Alright, so if you're new here, I just want to quickly mention that I'm not only a pro BMX rider, I'm a pro scooter rider, and that's actually what I started on. That's why you see, this is my garage, and it's full of scooters and a bunch of other action sports stuff, because I'm just crazy for action sports. But anyway, car is uncovered. As you can see here, this is my beauty. It's a Subaru BRZ. I haven't done much to it yet, so if you've got any ideas, let me know, because I'm open to them and I want to start doing it up. But right here, we have the remnants of my bag. My bike bag actually had 2 bikes in it because I've been away for like a month with Nitro Circus Live. So I'm going to build up my bike that I won X Games on. I've had the bike for like 2 years. I'm going to keep it how it is because, you know, I'm sentimental like that. I want to keep it how it is and maybe hang it up, something like that. But I'm going to pull all this stuff out, go get a tube, and then I'll be back. I'm not going to waste your time with all the buying the tubes and stuff like that. I don't think you want to see it. But I'll see you back here in just a second when I'm ready to build a new bike and a new scooter and chat about X Games. Alrighty, so here we are. We're all set up. And right now I'm sitting on the bike that won me X Games. Shout out to Hyper and Snafu for supplying me not only the bike that won me X Games, but also a new bike that we're going to build today. As you can see, it's all set up, and I've put a bunch of stuff around because I thought it'd be cool to like set up a little area for us to film. But I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to hang it up somewhere one day soon. But yeah, here's the bike that won X Games. We'll put this out of the road, and let's get into it. So my journey started when I went to the skate park the first time. And this would have been when I was about 8 years old, so about 16 years ago now. And I know what turned me on to action sports. It was this movie right here. It is The Ultimate X Movie. It came out in 2002. So yeah, that's 16 years ago. I was 8 years old. And it has everything in it. It had Travis Pastrana, Bob Burnquist, and a bunch of other guys that I just frothed so hard. Especially Stephen Murray too. He did the first double backflip in it, in competition I think. And that was amazing and really blew my mind away. And just from that moment, I was like, I want to be like these guys. And that's where my dream of becoming a gold medalist at X Games was born, and that's where it grew from. So obviously, I started going to the skate park on rollerblades, and from when I was 8 years old to when I was 12 years old, that's when I rode rollerblades. Ended up moving up to where I live now, Caloundra, on the Sunshine Coast. And a lot of my friends, they rode scooters. And I was the only one on rollerblades. I'd go to the skate park every day and like just chill. I'd be basically by myself and I'd just roll around with everyone else, some BMX friends, some scooter friends. And eventually I started like borrowing people's shoes at the skate park because when I rollerbladed, I didn't need shoes. So I had to borrow not only their scooters to ride, but I also had to borrow their shoes and they had to fit me, and I had huge feet when I was little. So eventually I ended up buying my own scooter, and that was, I believe, just over 10 years ago, so probably 2007, 2008, that's when I started really scooter riding. And then in 2012, Nitro Circus picked me up. Alright, so while I explain why Nitro Circus kind of opened up the realm of possibly going to BMX Big Air at X Games, I'm going to start building this bike. I'm going to start by putting the forks on the frame and we'll go from there. But basically, so I started out in Nitro Circus on a scooter, obviously, a lot of you know that, but I had ridden BMX, I'd raced BMX when I was young, so I knew I could ride a BMX, and obviously I'd have a go here and there at the skate park with my mates. I started out, I did world first on my first show, and that's how I got started in Nitro Circus. It really blew up, and I was kind of on every show after that. But I think, I don't know when my first world first was, but I know what it was. It was the front flip inward, which is kind of crazy because I actually tried it at the X Games just 2 days ago and put my foot down, but that's alright. So that was my first world first on BMX, and that kind of opened up the realm of like, hey, I could maybe go to X Games for BMX. Obviously, scooters went in the X Games, and they're not still, unfortunately, but maybe in the future, fingers crossed. Oh, I'm gonna need a spacer. Give me 1 second. Alright, I can't believe I've already hit a problem in this, but I think I fixed it, fingers crossed. But while I do this, let's talk about the first time I ever hit the Mega Ramp on anything. So the first thing I obviously rode was the Woodward West Mega Ramp on scooter, and when was that? 2014, I believe. And not many people had ridden it on scooter, so I felt pretty lucky, and we actually made a little video. Here's just a snippet of that. Oh, okay, so people decided they were going to whippy snip right now, so that's why we've switched to studio lighting. So I managed to do pretty well on scooter on the Mega Ramp, and obviously that same year was when I did the front flip inward on BMX and did my first world first. So the opportunity in my head arose that if I potentially could get in X Games, I could do pretty well. Obviously I needed to do the quarter, but I thought that if they let me on, I could figure it out. I mean, I rode BMX at the skate park all the time, and I knew how to ride big quarters. So I never actually got to ride the Mega Ramp until I snuck in Austin X Games in 2014. I was there with Mad Gear for a little scooter demo thing, and sure enough, I had all my pads, I had everything to go because I thought maybe they'd let me ride it, but they didn't. However, I got padded up, I looked the part, and I just ended up walking on, and a bunch of the guys took me up to the top. I dropped in, did a 720 front flip on BMX. I think I ended up getting like third or fourth try, but I didn't do anything on the quarter because I didn't want to hurt myself and get banned forever. So as you can see by the footage, I did pretty well. Obviously I didn't get to air the quarter, so they weren't going to really take me seriously. And at that point it kind of bummed me out a bunch because I was doing Nitro World Games and stuff like that, and I managed to win that, and they still wouldn't put me through, and I didn't know really how to feel. But then I got the opportunity to ride a Mega Ramp in Australia, and I started filming footage on that, and I managed to make a little video of just a handful of runs that I did, but there was no full trick run that would have got me in the competition. So about a month later, I decided to go out and fully film a little edit where I had a complete run that could potentially give me a podium position, because I thought that that must be what I needed. And so I went out, I did it, and then a few months later, I got the good news. I just got the best news ever! X Games actually made a really cool part that they play before I drop in, so I'm going to play that for you now. My mate Nico made it, shout out to him, he did a super good job, and it actually included scooters and they played it on live television, so I'm stoked to show you that. Enjoy that while I put these wheels together because it's probably going to take me like an hour. People always told me that the tricks I was doing were only possible because I was on a scooter. But I'd rode BMX on and off my whole life, and I truly believed that I could get them done on a BMX as well. I didn't even open the email. All I saw was congratulations from X Games, and I couldn't control my emotions. I just got straight up. I gave my phone to my girlfriend, and I'm like, film this. And I just did a backflip on flat, started running around going crazy. Immediately, I called Travis Pastrana, and within a week, I was at his house learning new tricks for the mega quarter. I was just that 12-year-old kid down at the skate park that everyone picked on. They told me I wouldn't make it anywhere, but here I am at X Games. If I can make it, you can too. Alrighty, so there's what they played immediately before my first run in Minneapolis. So obviously, it's pretty crazy that the first time I ever rode a mega ramp on BMX was actually 7 months ago. From right now, it was 7 months ago. And then, like 4 months after riding it the first time, I'm at Minneapolis and I'm throwing down. I'm gonna just go for it. I do my best job, and pretty much first run I wanted to get on the board. You seen I did a front bike flip to just an air. It was like 15 foot. I landed kind of funny and my foot was like about to come off. And then second try, it was on. I wanted to do this front flare, and basically it all worked really well, except I landed so low that I exploded. And on that first front flare, I actually went around 18 feet high, which was a little bit more than I expected, I think. I don't know, I was pretty much just going for broke at that point. And then obviously I tried that again 2 more times after the first attempt, and pretty much the same thing just kept happening over and over. Because the problem was I didn't get to look at my runs in between, so I didn't really know what I was doing wrong. I always thought I was popping off the ramp or something like that, but it was actually, the problem was I was riding off the ramp and then going. So I basically did the same thing every single time. And you can see in the footage that I pretty much come out every single time, land flat, explode, and I was pretty bummed about that. You can see in the footage I like kicked my shoe because it was coming off on the last run, so I was like, alright, I'm just going to kick this shoe across the map, and I still have those shoes, and they actually are the shoes that won me X Games, so I'm glad I held on to those shoes. So another thing about Minneapolis that people may not know is I actually fractured my spine in the first day of practice. I did an 18-foot air, came out too far, and I landed sitting down like this. And the paramedics checked me over, they gave me an x-ray. It was kind of a sketchy x-ray that they had there, so they didn't see that I actually fractured my spine. I guess that's a lucky thing because I got to ride the X Games still in Minneapolis, but it's also bad because I didn't know I had a fractured spine. So I got home and I'm like, why is my back still sore? Went to the hospital, got it checked, and they're like, hey, yeah, here you go, you've got a fractured spine. But luckily it was like the best case scenario for a fractured spine. So I ended up healing up pretty quickly and managed to get myself to the North American Nitro Circus Tour. Alright, so yeah, I finished up that tour, just like I finished the bike. We'll have a better look in a second, but first, we finished on, I believe, the 17th on tour, and then I was meant to get to Sydney on the 18th at night, and X Games started the 19th. So we fly in, we get into Brisbane, and then we have a connection to Sydney, and guess what? Our first flight was delayed, so we missed the last flight out of Sydney, and we have to stay in Brisbane. Then the next morning we get up at 5:30 we get up actually at 4:30 a.m. for a 5:30 a.m. flight, and sure enough, that's delayed because of fog in Sydney. We don't end up getting to Sydney until about midday when everyone's already practicing, and I don't get to practice that day really at all, and I'm all screwed up from traveling all the way from America. Luckily it all paid out in the end, but yeah, pretty much practice kind of sucked. And you're gonna see, I have a few clips where I just felt so down and not right on my BMX bike and nothing was working.
Oh, shoot! Yard sale! Yard sale!
Oh, this thing's looking beautiful. I can't wait to give you a good shot of it. But As you see there, I wasn't doing too well in practice. I mean, I stacked the bike flip and I always usually stomp that trick, but I was so used to the ramp being so steep, and the Mega Ramp's actually super mellow, and you can't do the same tricks as I can do at Nitro Circus on that ramp, just because the jump's way too small and it's way too fast. But I mean, I stuffed up, I could barely air the thing, I was feeling so down in the dumps, and I had all my mates there. I flew my family, I flew Alex, and I just had to get it done. So let's get to the day of the competition and how I was feeling. I think I'm going to film normally just so I can get really into these clips and explain how I was feeling. And it's a bit hard like this, so let's fix this up. Ugh. Alright, so the people finally stopped mowing the lawn. I can't really blame them though, it is their house, they needed to mow. But so it's game day, X Games. I'm so damn nervous because last time I let myself down and I crashed the front flare. I hadn't tried the front flare ever since, and I wasn't going to try it in practice. I knew from the start that I wasn't going to try it again because I didn't want to hurt myself and jeopardize not even being able to ride in the competition. So I held off till my first run, and I filmed a little Instagram before it started, and you can tell I'm kind of nervous and I'm kind of reaching out for support and really want everyone to get behind me because I feel like you all give me confidence, you give me strength to do my best, and it really paid off this time. So I dropped in for my first run, and this is how it went.
So here's Ryan Williams out of the Sunshine Coast here in Australia, making his second X Games appearance.
At his first X Games appearance, he did quite a few tricks, but was unable to complete a solid run. And here he goes for that front flip flare and pulls it! That's the first time he's ever pulled that. Oh my gosh. He has been trying so hard and was so nervous about being here in Australia, riding the big air ramp for the first time.
RW, who's a pioneer in scootering, absolutely slaying this course, putting together the best big air run of his young X Games career.
Absolutely. He's been trying so hard to get a full pull. He did it. Now he can build upon that and get that high air portion of the quarter pipe. If I were in the judge's position, that would be the only drawback I would see, is he didn't go double digits on this front flip flare. He stayed at 8 foot, 9 inches. Incredible that he was able to pull it.
Just a wild looking run, Chad.
It's so hard for me to put into words how I felt rolling away from that first front flare. I knew it wasn't that high, but the feeling I got of rolling away and not just exploding when I hit the landing was the best feeling ever. And I remember just all the nerves just went totally away, and I just felt in my element. As soon as I rolled away from that front flare, I was like, okay, now we've got this. Now we just need to go higher. We'll do the bike flip, do different tricks, see if we can mix and match it. But most importantly, I wanted to go high on that front flare. And I looked in the crowd, I see all my mates that I flew down, all cheering for me. And it was honestly one of the greatest moments of my life, just that first front flare, landing it, and just looking at the crowd. I honestly enjoyed that moment more than winning the X Games. Just the relief of landing a trick that I had such a burden in my heart for landing that trick, and it got me in Minneapolis when I thought I was going to stomp it, but I didn't, and I just felt like this is where it was meant to happen, and it did, and it was just the greatest feeling. And then I went into my second run. They played the little intro that you've watched before, and I was really feeling the love, and I felt confident.
So innovative, so out of the box. It's a rarity that X Games has been able to see these type of crossover athletes and bring them in so early in their career, but Ryan Williams is that talented. It could not be ignored.
He is unbelievably talented. His skill level on anything with wheels. I've been on Nitro Circus with him, and he'll grab a mountain bike, a BMX bike, a scooter, an esky. He'll jump anything. Here we go with nothing front bike flip. One of his originals, and then straight back into that front flare again. Clearly, he has fixed whatever the problem was in Minneapolis, and he knows how to land that.
If there is a crowd MVP early in this contest, it's Ryan Williams with tricks like this over the gap.
And watch that quarter pipe. He did 10 foot 9 inch with that front flare. He upped the amplitude from the last run. Getting up into those double digits is key for the judges, because if you can do something on a regular vert ramp at the same height that you do it here, but he's now borderline on going higher. Look at it's such a blind trick. You can't see anything but the sky. That is such a dangerous trick, and lands in a great spot with a smooth, consistent landing.
So this was the redemption. This was the exact run that I did in Minneapolis and couldn't pull off. The nothing front bike flip to front flare. And I managed to stomp it so clean. I couldn't believe it. And Foster was actually in front of me at this point. He did a backflip triple whip to quad down whip. He kind of hung up a little bit. So I think his score was affected by that. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm so stoked with second. Silver is like amazing for my second ever X Games. So I was already pumped and over the moon. And then when the scores came in and I was in first place again, I just couldn't believe it at all. And you can tell on my face that I couldn't believe it.
Ryan Williams absolutely feeling himself as he jumps up into gold medal position.
And clearly creating a battle for everybody else to chase him down looking for that gold.
So I'm in front coming into my third run. I knew that Foster could definitely up his score, and I was a little bit worried. I knew I had to go bigger, and I definitely wanted to go bigger. I didn't want to do such a small front flare because in Minneapolis I went so high. So I was like, I'm going to break less on this one, and I just sent it.
Our current leader, Ryan Williams, has that 91, but he cannot have a sigh of relief yet, not with James Foster right behind him.
Going for that unique signature trick, that nothing front bike flip into this quarter pipe with a huge front flare again. Such a cool and dangerous trick. That trick is blind through the entire rotation. You don't know if you're hanging up, landing flat, or clearly landing where you're supposed to. And this is 3 in a row for him, and each one has gotten higher.
And you see him pointing up.
He wants to go higher. He knows what he has to do.
Just art of flight over the gap from Ryan Williams.
Upping that height by about 6 inches. Our height meter is precise enough to distinguish between a 6-inch difference.
Oh my
and
goodness!
He just upped his score again.
I came in with a 92. I didn't think that was going to be able to beat Foster because I knew that he could throw down. He dropped in, he did a backflip triple tail to a quad down whip air, way cleaner than he did before and a little bit higher. So I was super worried that he was going to overtake me, but I really didn't mind at the time as well. I was just like, yeah, whatever, like he's beaten me. I really did think he beat me because he went really high and he landed really smooth and he was only 2 points off me before. So I just crossed my fingers and sure enough, the judges kept it my way. And I went into the fourth run, not knowing if it's a victory run, but knowing that I wanted to do a different trick. I wanted to mix it up, not just do the front bike flip. So I went in and tried the most scooter trick I can do on BMX, front flip inward. Oh yeah, and quick note, at the start of this video, you can actually see that I'm like, this is for the scooter kids. Like you can see me mouth it and you can kind of hear it too. So make sure you check that out. Scooter kids.
Ryan Williams, our current leader with the 92. Now, this is not a victory lap. James Foster still has to drop in along with Vince Byron. What does Ryan Williams do here?
So Ryan Williams at this point knows he's standing on the podium, but he has some ideas that he told me about, and we'll see if he does them. And there you go, there it is.
What?
That was a front flip, front bri flip. Doesn't land just right, so that front flare was low, but are you kidding me? His default was a front flare on the quarter pipe?
I'm gonna need to see that replay over the gap like 9 times. What just happened?
His bicycle did a double front flip while he did
I know what you're saying,
flip.
Chad. I know
Look
what
at
you're
this.
saying. But what am I seeing?
It's kind of like a blender going on through the sky over a 64-foot gap. Unfortunately, doesn't get that foot on. Dabs, gets back on, recovers from it well enough to do a 5-foot front flare.
The air awareness, the muscle memory, that's just remarkable.
Changing things up in Minneapolis doesn't pull one solid run. Here, has 4 solid runs, pulls the front flare 4 times, and is currently in the lead.
So obviously this run didn't go as planned, and I dabbed a foot. You can see in the footage that the pedal of my bike actually gets caught on my shirt, and I thought I was gonna eat crap, but it somehow came around. I got 1 foot on, I put it down, and then I like just dragged a bunch because I was like, oh, I'm not gonna ride up this quarter like all sketchy. And I was a throwaway run by then anyway, so I don't know why I did a front flare, but I just sent it, and it was like 5 foot over the coping, but I still landed it somehow, and I was like, whatever, like at least the first trick was cool. And then it was just the waiting game to see what happened next. So Foster does his jump, and I'm literally just standing there like, okay, who's going next? Like, I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder who's going next. I wonder what they're going to do. And I didn't realize that the comp was over, and I had won. And I was just standing there. I was like, oh, congratulate Foster. Went up to Foster. I'm like sick. That's rad. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, that's the end of the contest. Wait, I'm in first place. Wait, I've just won my first gold medal ever. Wait, I just accomplished the biggest dream of my whole entire life. And I just lost it. Like, my mind melted, and I couldn't think, I couldn't speak. I had to talk to the crowd, I had to talk to the MCs, and I was like, what do I say, what do I say? And yeah, I just couldn't believe it.
Let's head down to Mitch, who's with Ryan.
Ryan, talk about taking in, talk about changing things. Last X Games, you didn't have a solid run. You come here, you put on a stellar display of BMX in front of your home country for the first ever X Games, and you win your first ever X Games gold. How does it feel?
It is absolutely incredible. I mean, I went to Minneapolis and I had a trick in mind, and it didn't work out. I got some great advice from Jamie Bestwick, and it paid off tenfold. Thank you so much, Jamie Bestwick. I really do owe some of this to you, man. I can't believe it all worked out here in Australia. The best place in the world, yeah!
Now, I'm definitely not going to disagree with that. And what about throwing down not only a trick that we've never seen but in competition, but a trick that you have never done right here?
Mate, seriously, this was the only place it was going to happen. I didn't want to try that thing in practice. It's so damn scary, but it paid off. I don't know, something from above must have been helping me, because that was incredible. Shout out to my pop, I love you. He helped me, I think. I think he definitely helped me.
And tell me, how good does that gold medal taste right now? Have a bite.
Oh, here we go.
Make some noise.
Tastes beautiful, mate.
Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen. There we have the gold medalist for the BMX Big Air.
What a moment for BMX. What a moment for Australia. Ryan Williams winning gold. James Foster silver. Michael Laren the bronze.
And there you have it. There's my dream come true. The day I won an X Games gold medal. It's up there on this mannequin. You probably noticed it before. But I'm so stoked and blown away. And this is really for you all too. Thank you so much. This gold medal is just as much mine as it is yours. So enough with that. I finished the bike. We'll have a nice close-up shot of that in a second. I was going to build a scooter in this video, and I still will, but I won't do it on camera because you're probably sick of me speaking. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new scooter. But right here, just quickly, this is a scooter I rode on tour, and it is straight out of the box. Oh, now I dropped the mini scoot. But see this box here? That's basically exactly the scooter that comes out. The only difference right now is I have no bar ends. I have different grips and grip tape. So the exact scooter that I rode all Nitro Circus Tour is what you're going to get if you buy my Ryan Williams signature scooter. But if you don't want the more expensive version like what I ride, obviously it needs to be strong. It is quite up there in price range because it needs to be good enough for me to ride straight out of the box. You can go a lower version. I think this one over here is like the signature replica. So it's the exact same colorway, pretty much the exact same. I think it might even be a little bit lighter than my scooter, but it's a lot smaller. So if you're a little kid and you need a scooter, then you can just get this one because it's good enough to ride at the skate park. It'll handle everything, and I mean, it's a good price. So let's get into building another scooter right now, and then I'll check back in after I've done everything, and we'll get a cool shot of both scooter and BMX. basically all Snafu and Hyper. Shout out to them for hooking it up. But I think that's going to be all for this video because I'm absolutely buggered and I have a huge mess to clean up right now. But we did it. Here it is. I accomplished my goal, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm stoked that you've all got to come on this little journey with me, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So make sure you give it a thumbs up and even share it if you want so more people see it. But I appreciate you all, and make sure you join the family if you haven't already because we're nearly at 1 million subscribers. But we did it. Peace out. I'll see you in my next video. Have a good ride. Have a good day. And I'll see you next time.